summer. Gaining enlightenment is like the moon reflecting in the water. The moon does not get wet, nor the water disturbed. Although its light is extinguished of great, the moon is reflected even in a puddle of it across. The whole moon and the whole sky are reflected in a dewdrop in the grass, in one drop of water. Enlightenment does not disturb the person, just as the moon does not disturb the water. A person does not hinder enlightenment, just as a dewdrop does not hinder the moon in the sky. The depth of the drop is the height of the moon. As for the delusion of the reflection, you should examine the water's vastness or smallness, and you should discern the brightness of dimness of heavenly moon. When the truth does not fill our body and mind, we think that we have enough. When the truth fills our body and mind, we realize that something is missing. For example, when view the directions from a boat on the ocean where no land is in sight, we see only a circle and nothing else. No other aspects are apparent. However, this ocean is neither round nor square, and its qualities are infinite in variety. It is like a palace. It is like a jewel. It is just circular as far as our eyes can reach at the time. The 10,000 dharmas are likewise like this. Although ordinary life and enlightened life assume many aspects, we only recognize and understand through practice what the penetrating power of our vision can reach. In order to appreciate the 10,000 dharmas, we should know that although they may look round or square, the other qualities of oceans and mountains are infinite in variety. Furthermore, other universes lie in all quarters. It is not only around ourselves, but also right here and in a single drop of water. When a fish swims in the ocean, there is no limit to the water, no matter how far it swims. When a bird flies in the sky, there is no limit in the air, no matter how far it flies. However, no fish or bird has ever left its element since the beginning. When the need is large, it is used largely. When the need is small, it is used in a small way. Thus, no creature ever comes short of its own completeness. Wherever it stands, it does not fall to cover the ground. If a bird leaves the air, it will die at once. If the fish leaves the water, it will die at once. Know then the water is life. Know then that air is life. Life is the bird and life is the fish. Beyond these, there are further implications and ramifications. In this way, there are practice and enlightenment, mortality and immortality. Now, if a bird or fish tries to reach the limit of its element before moving in it, the bird or this fish will not find its way or its place. Attaining this place, one's daily life in the realization of ultimate reality, Genjo Koan. Although attaining this way, one's daily life is the realization of ultimate reality, Genjo Koan. Since this place is the way, are neither large nor small, neither self nor other, neither existing previously nor just arising now. They therefore exist thus. Thus, if one practices and realizes the Buddha way, when one gains it, one Dharma, one penetrates one Dharma. When one encounters one action, one practices one action. Since the place is here and the way leads everywhere, the reason, the limits of the knowable and unknowable is simple, that knowledge arises with and practices with the absolute perfection of the Buddha Dharma. Do not practice thinking that realization must become the object of one's knowledge and vision and be grasped conceptually. Even though the attained of realization is immediately manifest, its intimate nature is not necessarily realized. Some may realize it and some may not. Priest Bosch of Magu Mountain was fanning himself. A monk approached, and when asked, "Sir, the nature of the wind is permanent, and there is no place it does not reach. Why then must you still fan yourself? Although you understand that nature of the wind is permanent," the master replied, "you do not understand the meaning of its reaching everywhere." "What is the meaning of its reaching everywhere?" asked the monk. The master just fanned himself. The monk bowed with deep respect. This is the enlightened experience of Buddha Dharma and the vital way of its correct transmission. Those who say we should not use a fan because wind is permanent, and so we should know the existence of wind without using a fan, know neither primacy nor the nature of wind. Because the nature of wind is internally present, the wind of Buddhism raises the gold of the earth and ripens the light of the river.
I'd like to invite our incense lighters up. And together, let us chant our incense offering. You can find it in the booklet. In gratitude, we offer this incense throughout space and time to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May it be fragrant as earth herself, reflecting careful efforts, wholehearted awareness, and the fruit of understanding, slowly ripening. May we and all beings be companions of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May we awaken from forgetfulness and realize our true home. Hello. My name is Shin. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm happy to be here today. Um, I have a couple courtesy announcements before we get started. First off, if for any reason you need to step out, or if you got some small kids or yourself who would like to play with some Legos, get a drink of water, through that door right in the curtain right there, you can go downstairs. There's an extra bathroom down there as well. We also do have 2 bathrooms on the other side of that curtain as well. Also, if you see any groups of people coming in that might want to sit together, if we could just kind of adjust and make room as people come in. The other thing that we ask is that we don't walk across the front of the dais during the service. And also, when we chant, feel free to chant together, not under or over anybody. Speaking of that, why don't we stand and give a quick greeting before we get chanting? Sure, you go. And let's turn to page 7. I go for refuge to Buddha, my deeply awakened mind, the living source of understanding and compassion, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to Dharma, the path of mindful living, leading to healing, joy, and enlightenment, the way of peace, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to Sangha, the loving and supportive community of practice, realizing harmony, awareness, and liberation, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I am aware that the 3 jewels are within my heart. I vow to realize them. I vow to understand living beings and their suffering. I vow to cultivate loving kindness and compassion and to practice joy and equanimity. I vow to live simply and sanely, content with few possessions, and to keep my body healthy. I vow to let go of all worry and anxiety in order to be light and free. I am aware that I owe so much to my parents, teachers, friends, and all beings. I vow to be worthy of their trust and practice wholeheartedly so that understanding and compassion will flower, and I can help living beings be free from their suffering. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. And if you can turn to the next page, we will do the Heart Sutra. Dhamma Prajna Paramita Pranaya Sutra. The Bodhisattva of great compassion from the deep practice of Prajna Paramita perceived the emptiness of all 5 skandhas and delivered all beings from their suffering. O Shariputra, form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form. Form is emptiness, emptiness form. The same is true of feeling, thought, impulse, and consciousness. O Shariputra, all dharmas are empty. They are not born nor annihilated. They are not defiled nor immaculate.
They do not increase nor decrease. So in emptiness, no form, no feeling, no thought, no impulse, no consciousness. No eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. No form, sound, smell, taste, touch, or objects of mind. No realm of sight, no realm of consciousness. No ignorance, nor extinction of ignorance. No old age and death, nor extinction of them. No suffering, no cause of suffering, no cease from suffering, no path to lead out of suffering, no knowledge, no attainment, no realization, for there is nothing to attain. The Bodhisattva holds on to nothing but prajna, paramita. Therefore, the mind is clear of any delusive hindrance. Without hindrance, there is no fear. Away from all perverted views, one reaches final nirvana. All Buddhas of past, present, and future, through faith in prajna, paramita, attain to the highest perfect enlightenment. Know then the prajna, paramita, is the great Dharani, the radiant, fearless mantra, the utmost supreme mantra, which is capable of allaying all pain. This is true beyond all doubt. Proclaim now the highest wisdom, the prajna, paramita. Gate, gate, aragate, arasamgate, bodhisattva. Gate, gate, aragate, arasamgate, bodhisattva. Gate, gate, aragate, arasamgate, bodhisattva. Dhamma prajna paramita hridaya sutra.
Thank you. You can be seated. So, throughout most of history, the way that people studied, whether that's academically or religiously or spiritually, was a lot different than what we do today. Because books were very expensive, if you're lucky enough to have one and to be literate, you really only had maybe one or two, or maybe a couple. And most of our knowledge that was passed down for the majority of our time as humans was done through memorization, which, the cap of your knowledge could be what you could remember. which I'm sure is far less than what you would find at the library downtown. What that means, though, is that for most of history, our study of things has been about quality over quantity. You think of the monks, the Christian monks, studying, learning how to read for the sole purpose of being able to read the Bible, spending most of their days copying this text, studying this one text, devoting their entire lives to one text. I think there's something that we may have lost a little bit from having that sort of single-minded devotion. I also think that as anybody who is dipping their toes or still pretty new to the study of Buddhism, I hope this is a little comforting, because when you go down even to our library downstairs and you feel a little overwhelmed of where do I start, how do I get it all, this is some permission to kind of set that down. Maybe you could even just find a single text that kind of speaks to you and just spend time with that. I know Young Soo will agree with me with this one, because we've had many talks about our sort of pet sutras that we've stuck with for many years. But that's, I think, a really good way to approach Buddhism in a lot of ways. And I know a lot of people are thinking, well, that's great. We can, actively try to cultivate that. But I'm going to make the argument that there's still a huge part of our culture that practices this single-minded study. I looked up just before the service what the top 10 YouTube videos of all time are. And if you were to look at that list, 5 of them are videos made for toddlers. And the number 1 video, if you don't know, is Baby Shark by Pink Fong, which has just shy of 15 billion views. Does anybody know what the current population of the planet is right now? About 8 billion, right? So not only is there enough views of Pink Fong for everybody on the planet to have heard this, but for everybody on the planet to have heard this song at least twice. But if you spent any time with any toddlers or any kids, you know that is not the case. And if you've spent any time with children who are neurodivergent, you know where these numbers are coming from. It is not uncommon for a lot of the kids that I work with to have their favorite song, their favorite fairy tale or show, and watch it with a devotion that would put every single monk to shame. When you first start working with kids, it will drive you insane. You will hear the same song at least 30 to 40 times a day. Sometimes you'll hear just their favorite part of the song about 300 times a day. People will learn how to scroll back to the same part very quickly. And you know what? It actually reminds me, I'm going to go on a little tangent here. Back in 1973, there was a DJ in the Bronx named Kool Herc who realized that during his house parties, whenever the songs that we have on the records would get to the breakbeat part, everybody got just a little bit more hyped and just got a little bit more energy. So he says, you know what? What if I took 2 records and just as that part started and ended, I'd get the second one queued up to start that part again, switch it over just as it was ending, and seamlessly loop to the same part in another record. Then while that one's playing, I'm going to scroll back, get to the beginning, and then right when it ends, flip it back. So I create a loop, and we're going to loop this one part over and over and over again, and thus is the birth of hip hop. And if you work with children, they're reinventing hip hop every day with the YouTube videos. So history tends to repeat itself, or maybe this is something innate that we just love to hear our favorite things over and over and over and over and over again. I have one kid that I work with who I've been working with for about 2 years now. And I see them every single day when I go to work. And they've had a couple favorite songs, but this one song in particular has been their favorite. And if I had to guess, I'd say about 35 times a day, they'll put this song on. They'll grab all their toys and reenact the song.
And I'm just going to play it for you. Is that okay? I didn't even really have to practice this because I feel like it's been burned into my brain. So here we go. We're going on a bear hunt. I got my binoculars. I'm not scared. Look that way. There's some really tall, wavy grass. We can't go over it. We can't go under it. We're just gonna have to go through it. Swish, swish, swish. We're going on a bear hunt. We got my binoculars. I'm not scared. Uh-oh, there's a really big river, and we can't go over it. We can't go under it. We're just gonna have to swim through it. I hope it's not too chilly. Splash, splash, splash. We're going on a bear hunt. Got my binoculars. I'm not scared. Ew, look at all that mud. Well, we can't go over it. We can't go under it. We're just gonna have to go through it. Squish, 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 squish. We're going on a bear hunt. I got my binoculars, and I'm not scared. Uh-oh, what's that? I think it's a cave. We can't go over it. We can't go under it. We're just gonna have to go into it. Are you sure? Step, 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 step. We're going on a bear hunt. Got my binoculars. It sure is dark in there. What's that in the corner? It's got two big ears and one wet nose and two sharp teeth. I know what that is. It's a bear. Let's get out of here. Let's run back through the cave. Step, 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 step. Quickly through the mud. Squish, 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 squish. Let's cross the river. Splash, 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 splash. Quickly through the tall grass. Swish, 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 swish. And quickly through the yard and up the stairs into the house and close the door. And woo, we're safe. That was a close one. And I'm never gonna go bear hunting again. Thank you. So I promise this is relevant. I have a theory that you can't listen to anything thousands and thousands and thousands of times without reading into it maybe a little too much. I don't know if the client that I work with has gotten the same sort of outcome that I have, But I found this to be a wonderful lesson in karma. I'll never forget my first teacher when they were teaching me about karma was telling me, there's a big misconception. Yes, there's part of the karma of cause and effect. You do things, you're going to have to live with the consequences. And I think that is a really surface level understanding, but I think there's something a little bit deeper. There's also the karma of just the experiences that we have to go through in life. The experiences that, our own birth and causes and conditions bring to us that could be no fault of our own. The karma that is put onto us from others, and the karma that we sort of put onto other people. And this song's been a little bit of a mantra for me. Particularly the line, you can't go over it. You can't go under it. You're just going to have to go through it. And I think there's not a lot of hard things that we come up to in life that doesn't really just hit it on the mark. I really love the way that it's talked about in this song, because in the very first half of the song, they're on their bear hunt. They have, this sort of idea of what they're up against, and they hit all these sort of barriers in life, these lessons. You've got the tall grass, you've got the mud, you've got the river, you've got the cave. And every time they hit one of these things, they pause and they say, well, how can I avoid this? Can I go around it? Can I go over it? But the answer is, you know what? I'm just going to have to trudge through it. The beautiful thing about this song is at the very end, if you couldn't tell, they found their bear. Their bear that happened to be a little bit much for them, more than they expected. And when they turned around, when they hit the cave again, when they hit the water again, when they hit the mud again, they were ready this time. There was no pausing. There was no waiting. There was no, how do I avoid this? How do I make it somebody else's problem? They're like, I've been through this. I'm better because of it. I've learned this lesson. And because of that, they're able to get away from that bear pretty quickly. I think it's a really great way to look at struggles that we have when you see everything as a lesson. Things aren't going to be fun. Things aren't going to be, easy. But just the act of getting through them, learning that lesson, becoming stronger, processing that karma. Not only does that, I think, help you as an individual, but it can also help the people around you. Because if we can, as my teacher used to say, sort of consume the suffering of others, if we can take the responsibility to process this karma, and it not only alleviates that in our own lives, but that cascades to everybody else. I kind of going through a lot of things in the last couple of weeks, have kind of seen firsthand what happens when people fail to process their karma. When they hit their grass and they say, you know what, I'm not going to go through it. I'm going to try to go around this one, or I'm going to try to go over it, or I'm just going to camp out for a little bit and see if it'll go away. The problem is that's not the nature of karma. The only way to get over the karma is to go through it. Sometimes people are handed a pretty big puddle of mud. And when they fail to deal with that, sometimes they just create more and more and more mud. You see people who, you've heard the old adage, hurt people hurt people. And I think this is a danger of not tending to our own karma. So when you take the time to evaluate what are the things that are holding you back, what are the big lessons that you're avoiding, it's not just about you. It's about, if me dealing with, this trauma now, if me dealing with this hardship now is going to alleviate this for everybody else around me. If anybody's ever been really close to somebody who's been struggling, it's not just their struggle. And if anybody's been really close to somebody who's gotten through that struggle, you notice how that doesn't just alleviate that person, but everybody around them better for it.
And even if you're not directly attached to that person, just being able to see somebody get through things and gives you permission to also, I'm going to be okay. I can do this too. I, a few weeks back, I talked about the kitsugi, the art of repairing the broken bowl. And sometimes that golden streak where you repair can be maybe your strongest and the prettiest thing about you, right? I guess the hidden lesson in all this too is I was watching a documentary on Chris Farley because I got really bored. It was really late when I started it. I started at like 1:00 in the morning, and I probably shouldn't have because it's like an hour and a half long. But I don't know if you know who that is. If you're at least a millennial, you know who Chris Farley is. But somebody said, a good comic says funny things, but a great comic says things funny. And I thought that that's a really good way to kind of see life, because it's not so much about trying to find like the greatest sutra or read the like best book. Sometimes it's about just trying to see the lessons in everyday life. And if I can see a lesson in karma in the Bear Hunt song, then I mean, how much better can you all do? So something to ponder, I guess, too, is everything's a lesson. Everything is your karma that you're processing. So it's hard. I know it is. Sometimes we need to take a break, but keep going through it. You're gonna get to the other side, and you're gonna be better for it. So that's my talk. Why don't we prepare ourselves for some meditation?
All right. I want to allow some time for joys and concerns. So we will have a microphone floating around the room. So if you have any joys or concerns that you would like to share, please raise your hand.
Yeah, so I just want to say a big takeaway I had from this session, or I don't know exactly what to call it. This is my first time at this exact like activity, but yeah, I remember I did get a little late, like 5-10 minutes, and during that break we took after that first reading, I went back and read the first 2 pages of that reading we did. And I remember one point it said like like a tree, like all a tree is a tree, and the ash from the tree after it's dead is just ash. And I don't know, I just remember that really resonated with me because I I okay, long story short, I had like pretty much my first bad panic attack like the beginning of this year. And I remember just I've always been an anxious person, but my anxiety, I felt it was slightly worse. Just like after just thinking like, man, I kind of did some stuff where like I even lost some friends like when it happened, and like I just didn't feel like the same, and I've just been like kind of anxious about it. Just like, but I don't know, the whole like tree thing where like the ash is just the ash. It kind of made me accept like what happened that day kind of just happened, and like you know, it's a like I can't change that. And even back to like what you said with where like you said you just have to like learn a lesson. Like I ended up, when we meditated that last time, I ended up just reaching some stillness that I hadn't been able to find in a while. um and yeah, I just want to say, I learned a fair amount in the last hour, so yeah.
Good morning, Sangha. I'm really grateful to be here. So I withheld this joy last week because Shane wasn't here, and it's been bubbling up. I wanted to express this so much. So on Saturday, I was a part of the introduction to Buddhist fundamentals. So we do that. Super great. It was such an awesome experience. I was really grateful to be a part of that. Sunday morning, I'm doing my prayers and affirmations, and I'm just not feeling it. Like I'm just not, and which is really rare for me. And like I'm just not feeling it. Do my affirmations, just nothing. All of a sudden, I think of you doing that yesterday, and it was like the transmission of the Dharma. And all of a sudden, I just burst over joy, like to be a part of your journey. It meant so much to me. And then just followed with just deep inspiration. Like I want to do that, and it just uplifted me. And then and then I came here, and I'm like, I'm so excited to. Oh, she's saying, I'll wait. I'll wait. So I withheld that joy. Another joy. I've experienced so many joys this week. So many joys. I was at work and I saw someone crying. And I'm walking by this person, and my heart says, go over and acknowledge this person. And so I just walked up and said, Andrea, I really appreciate you. And it was that. That was all I did, And then we got in a conversation right afterwards. And just that simple act of appreciation, just acknowledging another human being, uplifted her heart. Like just that she needed to hear that. And then I experienced joy. Like the heart experiences joy for relieving others' suffering. And then yesterday, I get off the bus, and my awareness somehow draws me to some little stage on a corner over. I can kind of see something, and there's a free ballet going on. So I got to watch for 2 hours. I was so mesmerized. I've never been a part of that. Just like, oh, it's the cosmic dance. Like some part of me was just getting something I've never gotten before. Wow, how beautiful is this? So many joys. Life is so amazing today. Anyway, I'm really grateful to share. Thank you, Greg. Thank you.
Good morning. I did want to share some joys. It's been the past couple weeks has been like this portal opening of all these really big things that I don't have any control over, but to support and help and be there for my community and my friends. And I've been going to school for the first time since like 2007 for medical massage. And it has been a lot of hard work. And I had my midterm this past week, and I passed my hands-on and I passed my written midterm, and I feel really good about it. And I was offered a job at a massage partnership that seems to be really educated and knowledgeable. And I've always just wanted to help people feel good, and that brings me a lot of joy. And I just am really glad that I just had that reassurance that I'm on the right path and I'm doing what I love, and I just want to keep going. So, yeah, I just wanted to share that. Thank you for listening.
Hello, my name is Colin, and I'm happy to be here, and that's all.
Hi guys, good morning, Sangha. So I'm Sam. My joy is that Colin's here. Colin is from Guiding Light Recovery, just up the street, and I'm always happy when somebody in the program who just gets to the 30-day mark and is allowed to go to someplace other than Cornerstone Church. Whenever anybody shows interest in the Sangha, like I did from the moment that I came in here for a Monday night recovery meeting, I knew I wanted to keep coming back to the Sangha because there aren't a lot of places in Michigan, let alone anywhere else, where Americans can experience this, can really get into Buddhism. And I'd like to show a great joy and appreciation for you for the way that you gave your talk today. I think it was the perfect first impression to give. In my opinion, truly skilled teachers in any faith, truly skilled spiritual teachers find very creative, very out of left field, and most importantly, very joyous ways of teaching the Dharma, teaching Christianity, any faith or any spiritual path. I think you exemplified that perfectly today. It's brought me a lot of joy. Thank you very much.
Hello, Sangha. I just wanted to express, I watched the Democratic National Convention this week, and I was so inspired by all these young people that were just so joyous at that convention. And it was like, I've seen so much in my lifetime, and to see that I truly believe that we have turned a corner on so many things, and I'm just very, very grateful for the fact that we are all together and that we're moving forward in a beautiful direction. And I just want to say also that I'm very grateful for civil servants and people that are dedicating their lives to try to make a better world for all of us. Thank you.
Hi. Hi. I just wanted to, or one thing I'm thankful for right now is that my work schedule just got changed to a more kind of traditional schedule. So I'm going to be a lot more available to come here on Sundays because I usually work Sunday mornings and now I don't. So I'm very excited about that. That's all. Thank you.
Hi, I just wanted to share that I'm joyous for having been part of the marches on the DNC that took place in Chicago this past week. And I wanted to share how joyful it made me to see 20,000 plus people over 4 days expressing their love for humanity and their desire for our civil servants to be more loving and peaceful people.
I have a joy to share. For the past week, I was able to get work off and visit my family in Vermont with my sister and my dad. We drove there. I've always had kind of a contentious relationship with my dad, so historically those trips were kind of hard, but he's sober now and has been for over a year, and it's the first time we've gone and got along the whole time, even though we had some like political debates. They were respectful and like we're just treating each other with a lot more compassion. And I'm really thankful for that experience and thankful that I was able to see my grandma out there. So thanks.
Hello, I'm Nikki. This past Thursday night, there was a volunteer bash for volunteers at Community Action House over in Holland, where I live. And my sweetie has been volunteering with them pretty extensively, just serving food to the homeless and the food insecure in our community. And I was so excited to be part of this celebration of so many cool people for this amazing organization in my community that I have heard about for so many years, but had no idea just how much they did and how many people just put so many hours into helping out in our community, and learned about some other volunteer opportunities I didn't know existed that I'm hoping to get involved with. And I'm so grateful that this exists in my community, and that there are just so many people that care and are doing good things.
I had two realizations recently, kind of on the same theme, where lately my friends at work have been asking me, what have you been up to lately? And I'm a pretty busy person. I'm a very active person. And sometimes I have to really pause and think, I don't know what I've been up to lately. And I don't think it's so much of an oversaturation of activity, but rather I do things and I let it through me, and then I keep going. And then I wake up in the morning and I ask, what am I doing after work today? So that's something I'm thankful for. Last night, I also had this realization about competitiveness, because I recently, one of my many activities, I recently picked up longsword fencing. And it's a lot more fun with another person who also has a longsword. And I realized when I was sparring with this guy who was bigger than me and stronger than me, but I was faster than him, that there was this way that I wasn't trying to beat my partner. I was more trying to do it better, and he challenges me. And I think that there's a turnover of maturity that happens when you partake in a sport and you're no longer trying to beat other people, but you're simply trying to do your best. So I'm thankful for that too.
I'll be quick, I promise. Hi, I'm Sasha. I wanted to share that last Friday, I and my family went out to the lake shore and I went swimming. And this is important to me because that was an experience that I never had growing up, one of many. And it was just a really nice, I've been kind of reconsolidating my childhood and having those experiences that I never had with the family that I've chosen, and that's really important to me. And yeah, that's all.
Hi, my name is Chungo Su. My son turned 7 on Friday, and we had such a fun weekend. We got to do rock climbing, went to the skate park, played music, had a pool party, and it was lovely.
Good morning, Sangha. My name is Ava. I'll be starting a new journey. I'm moving to Seattle here soon, which is a big move for me, but it's something I've wanted to do for about the last 8 years. I moved back to Michigan to take care of my best friend, and then later, after that, take care of my schizophrenic brother. So I've spent the vast majority of these last 8 years just caring for other people, and I haven't had much time to care for myself. And so in many ways, this is a different journey, both in physical and actually moving, but also in a journey to still move towards the things that I desire for myself. So although it's scary, I think it's still a positive thing. That's all.
Hi, my name's Aaron. I was recently fired from my job of 3 or 4 years, but it was arguably probably the best thing that could happen to me. It was a very negative work environment, and since then I've been able to dedicate myself to things that are more important to me, namely volunteer work and family and things of this nature. So what could have been a concern actually turned into a joy. So thank you.
Do we have any online?
All right. Why don't we take a couple moments just to hold it all in? So I have a few announcements. I did want to talk about our online meditation group that meets on Wednesdays from 6 to 6:45 p.m., and that's over Zoom. We also have our Avatamsaka Sutra study group. I believe that we don't have any more meetings this month. Do you know when the next one is? September. All right, we'll come back. We also have our Buddhist-based recovery meetings, and they meet on Monday, 6:30 p.m. meditation, 7 o'clock meeting at the temple. Wednesdays is 6:30 at the Alano Club. And then Fridays at 10:05 a.m. meditation and a 10:30 meeting, and that's at Garfield Park. September 5th will be the next Sutra study meeting. Do we have any other announcements? Yes.
Good morning, Sangha. My name is Ellen. In our practice, the word dana means generosity, and that comes in many shapes and sizes, many different ways to practice generosity. Everything that happens here at the temple, absolutely everything, people are being generous with their time. No one gets paid to do anything here. Everybody pitches in and helps out, and that's what keeps this ship sailing. There's also another way to donate, volunteer goods. Sometimes we need stuff downstairs, and the person to ask about that is Nikki. Do we still have a list in the washroom, kind of dishwashing room, about stuff we might need, like paper towels and so on? So you can check that if you're down there after services today. Also, of course, there's the monetary way of helping the temple out. At the end of both ends, you see the black box down there with a little white card on it. That's a Dana box. You can put a check money in there. There's also a QR code on each box. There's another one on the other side of the curtain, which takes you directly to PayPal. You can do a one-time donation. You can set it up to do monthly, which can be changed anytime you want to. If you're watching on YouTube today, we have a drop-down menu for that will take you right to donation. Same thing, PayPal. Also, our website, zengr.org, has the same button, the donate one, that takes you to PayPal as well. So anything you can do, just being here, you're giving your time today, and we so appreciate. What a great group we had today. So that's it. Where is he?
Thanks, Ellen. Hello, everyone. Hello, TV land. This really doesn't apply to you, but it does to everyone here. I'm Yang Su, by the way. We're going to have two people practicing their Dharma talk here at 11:30 on the dais. You can walk through, be respectful, walk around just like it was a regular service, and maintain silence, but of course, nothing is disturbed downstairs or in the lobby. And I just want to let you know. So at 11:30, we're going to once again maintain silence in the temple hall.
Just to remind everyone before we leave, if we could do our best to kind of leave the place like we found it, kind of line up the cushions, and we'll have people going around collecting the books, things like that. And also after the service today, if you want to get some tea and chat, there'll be people meeting downstairs. Probably be a better place to meet than up here with the talks going on. Why don't we stand again, and we'll do our closing gathas, and you can find those on page 9 of your book. For all unskillful actions ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thoughts, now I atone for them all. Vast is the robe of compassion, a formless field of benefaction. I wear the Buddhist teachings for the benefit of all sentient beings. All beings, one body, I vow to liberate. Endless blind passion, I vow to uproot. Dharma gates without number, I vow to penetrate. The great way of Buddha, I vow to attain. And if we could face each other.